So let's talk about the trials. The trials were held in Salinas, Ecuador. We took 16 athletes from the U.S., 8 boys and 8 girls. There was a team of 4 coaches that traveled with those 16 athletes. And the way the trials works is there's trials all around the world. This is the trials for Canada, North America, and South America. And to qualify for your country, you had to be the top 8 countries across the line. And the U.S. had already said that the first American on the boys' side and the girls' side for the U.S. would be the one who would represent the U.S. at the games. And so we went in this weekend. We already kind of set it up. We had not put a lot of expectation on it. It was a great week. I got to coach some of the other top junior athletes in the country, which was exciting. You got to hang out with some of the other junior athletes in the country, and we kind of come into this race. So race day comes. Talk us through it from your perspective.
So like right when I woke up, I was super relaxed, and before Ecuador and before Sarasota and Richmond, I wasn't really. I was super nervous, and I didn't know what was going to happen. But Ecuador, something was just different. And so we rode down to the race site, and I did all my warm-up, set up my transition, and then when I was doing my swim warm-up, I sort of just took a chance to I was treading water, out in the middle, and I just sort of had to breathe a little bit because I was getting worked up kind of, because I knew the race start was coming. But and then once I got on the line and had so when the gun went off, I had a super good swim start. And then when I got in the water and I was ahead, I knew that it was just going to be a good race. And so from then on, it was just really good.
Yeah, so Parker has a look. She usually, when the stakes are highest, Parker usually performs. And I think that's something that's really special about you as an athlete. And when you got out of that water, and I was at the first corner, and you came around that corner, and you were bobbing your head you were just nodding, saying, "Yeah, I'm going to take this." And she took off on the front of this pack and just went to work, knowing that this pack of girls that you were with really y'all needed to hammer and get away from the trailing pack. And I just knew at that moment, it was going to be a special day. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I knew it was going to be a special day. So we get to the end of the bike. We have this minute 20 gap. We know it's kind of going to come down to this pack of eight girls. We've got 2 other Americans in there who had beaten you in runs this year. And we start the run, and I saw you at the first corner again, and you were a little bit behind. So talk about that.
So I was behind because my transition 2 was not good at all. So I couldn't get my shoes on. My heel got stuck. So I was last out of transition out of those 8 girls. And so I just sort of tried to make up as much time as I could. And during the run, I didn't really feel like I was gaining on them, but apparently I was. And then I caught up to the lead girl, who was from Mexico, and then I ran with her side by side for the last 2 laps of the run.
Excellent. So from there, I sprinted to my post, which was the U-turn, and the run course was set up. It had 3 laps, and so there's 3 laps on the run. And so I got to see you at the U-turn each time, and that you got to that first one right as you were catching the athlete from Mexico. And so then we come around for the second lap, and it was probably a moment I'll never forget, because as I could see from the distance, because I could see about 800 yards, I could see Parker and the athlete from Mexico running, and as they got closer, I realized that that you guys had about a 20-second gap on anyone else, and I lost it.
I remember coming up to the U-turn, you had your bike in your hands and you were shaking it up in the air. And I was like, all right.
I knew it, and you gave me this biggest smile, and it was like, for me, it was like 6 years of work and dreaming about this moment, and it was like, oh my goodness, you know, all the struggles we've had this year, like everything is just coming together at the perfect moment. And as a coach, as an athlete or in a coach, honestly, in the sport, I've never had a more special moment than that moment of you running towards me, which is why, you know, I broke down emotionally. When, you know, you came by, I was throwing my bike all around. I was crying. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And so I was going to see you one more time. And so you had one more lap. But before I get to that, Chad, you were kind of witnessing this. I know we talked a little bit over the phone in there.
Right.
Tell me about your emotions at that point.
I didn't really know what to expect. I was standing there in transition 2 and watched her struggle with her shoe, and I started thinking, oh, you know, here we go. And then I didn't run on the course, because sometimes when she sees me and she's exerting herself and pushing it, I'm not, for whatever reason, I don't, you know, bring happy thoughts to her. So I try to stay I sort of try to hide a bit. So I was kind of like hiding behind kind of a tree, and I kind of looked up and I'm like, I can't believe that's my daughter. And like, how did she get to where she is? Because at this point she was running with the girl from Mexico, and so they went around that first loop, and I shifted my hiding spot to a different spot. And then that's when I thought, wow, she's got a really big lead now over the next American girl, and it hit me. I was texting I had about 7 people I was texting back in the States, and I was like, guys, you know, we're going to Argentina, and I couldn't believe it.
In that last 800 meters, you were an extremely smart racer. So talk about how that it kind of came together over that last 800 meters to the finish.
Well, she kept trying to like surge forward, and I just tried my best to stay with her, and I did. And then, so with about like a 200 to go was when I put a surge in to go up to the finish line. And I swore I thought she was going to go with me, and you're not supposed to do this during a race, but I turned around like twice, which is, don't do that. But and then once I finished, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, that was not what I thought was going to happen when I woke up that morning. But
it was awesome.
It was crazy. And then once I finished, and then another girl from the U.S., Paige, she finished. We both hugged each other, and we both started crying right when I finished.
There were a lot of tears at that finish line. What I love to see is every single U.S. athlete across that line was so supportive. I mean, that they all wanted that spot just as much as you did, and we all. I mean, all the coaches, all the athletes. It was like, you know, 1, happy for you that you're going. 2, thrilled that the U.S. just took the trials.
And that's really what I think. You know, I took out of that is that when they're up there playing the anthem, and it's your kid there, and they've got the flag, and I mean, it's just to represent your country at this age, and to take the expectations off, and then have to actually have it work out. I mean, it was, you know, I mean, I'll never forget it. It was just, as a parent, it's something that, you know, you always want your kids to have as much success as they can, and when everything comes together like that on a day like that, it's just something really special.
And you know, I reiterate what Chad said. It's just it's special when it's that national flag up there and your national anthem, and it's just it's the biggest stage. So it's really exciting.